Hello.
Because of Dr. Nansen finding it getting warmer near the winter pole, and as well as his compass acting strange, he decided to turn around because he felt he was lost and went back home and ended his mission. Here is an account from another...
See? It gets warmer towards the winter pole. Gets warmer. So it's cold here, and then once you cross over the meridian, which is about right here, I think that was, what, 35th parallel? If I'm not mistaken. It gets hot all of a sudden. And it gets hotter as you get closer to the pole. That's crazy, but why is it? That must be just rock or the tree or whatever. Probably not ice at all.
The Nordic explorer. I lived near the Arctic Circle in Norway. One summer my friend and I made up our minds to take a boat trip together and go as far as we could into the North Country. So we put 1 month's food provisions in a small fishing boat, and with sail and also a good engine in our boat we set to sea. At the end of 1 month we had traveled far into the north, beyond the pole and into a strange new country. We were so much astonished at the weather there. Warm, and at times at night it was almost too warm to sleep.
Wow.
Then we saw something so strange that we both were astonished. Ahead of the warm open sea, we were on what looked like a great mountain. Into that mountain at a certain point the ocean seemed to be emptying. Mystified, we continued in that direction and found ourselves sailing into a vast canyon leading into the interior of the earth.
Wow.
We kept sailing, and then we saw what surprised us, a sun shining inside the earth.
The black sun. Dude.
These men eventually sailed into a land in the interior of the earth.
Oh my God.
They encountered many gigantic people and
What?
animals and a very advanced civilization. They spent their time there for a year before they returned back home.
Wow. Fucking A.
A Welshman, Walter Mapes, in the latter...
They said they returned back home. So these dudes were on top of this mountain. They saw the water emptying into it and was astonished. This thing's 100 miles across. So somehow they ended up on top of this fucking thing. They looked down, was like, damn, all the water is going down into it. So they decided to go into it, and they went into the damn shit. So apparently it's not that scary and not that dangerous, as people are saying. Maybe you should watch out, maybe you should go, or maybe your ship will break apart, or maybe you'll die. It's like, man, there's got to be some really good shit here. This is how you know it is what it's worth dying for. It's worth a pile of gold in your fucking goddamn lap. It's worth everything to go to this place, because they're not even telling us what any of this is. This right here, this script tells you what's going on with these rivers, but it doesn't tell you what's here. These scripts tell you what's in the land mass. This is the wonderfulest, most richest land source, and then these are the pygmies. So that tells me that these are the best land sources right here, because they're not even talking about these. He's probably got, who knows, naked women running around. Or if you're a woman, naked men. I don't fucking knows. I'm just saying. I mean, this is where you want to be. Continue.
Part of the 12th century, in his collection of anecdotes, tells of a prehistoric king of Britain named Hela, who met with the Skrellings, who took him beneath the earth.
That was just too amazing. Giants, are you serious? Let's go back and hear that shit again.
At the end of 1 month, we had traveled far into the north, beyond the pole, and into a strange new country. We were so much astonished at the weather there. Warm, and at times at night it was almost too warm to sleep.
Wow.
Then we saw something so strange that we both were astonished. Ahead of the warm open sea, we were on what looked like a great mountain. Into that mountain at a certain point the ocean seemed to be emptying.
From the bottom.
Mystified, we continued in that direction and found ourselves sailing into a vast canyon.
Wow.
Leading into the interior of the earth. We kept sailing, and then we saw what surprised us, a sun shining inside the earth.
What?
These men eventually sailed into a land in the interior of the earth. They encountered many gigantic people and animals.
What?
And a very advanced civilization.
Gigantic people and animals. Gigantic animals, dude.
They They spent their time there for a year before they returned back home.
Wow. They was there for a whole year and they just decided, you know what, we're going to go back home now. Amazing. There's other ones that say that they come and go and they hang out with the giants and shit. There's more.
A Welshman, Walter Mapes, in the latter part of the 12th century, in his collection of anecdotes, tells of a prehistoric king of Britain named Hela, who met with the Skrellings, who took him beneath the earth. Many early legends tell of people going under the earth into a strange realm, staying there for a long period of time, and later returning.
Wow.
The ancient Irish had a legend of a land beyond the sea where the sun always shone and it was always summer weather. They even thought that some of their heroes had gone there and returned, after which they were never satisfied with their own country.
So these people, they go there and they're not satisfied with this place, with this world out here. So they want to go back. And they can go back and they can come out. What the fuck? How the hell do you come out? There must be another way out or something, because this is like sucking you into it. So what the fuck? Damn. So, anyways, I've done some new sketches here. At first, I thought it was something like this, because if there was a tree there, it would be like ripped out just like all the other trees. And considering that there's a considerable amount of current there, it would be hard to do. Like whatever machines they had or whatever it was they used, if it was even humanly possible for a human to do it, not some giant or whatever the fuck. I mean, seriously, this is what I would imagine that it would turn out to be, something like that. And the ships would be so small that you could just navigate through these big, these canyons here and just go right into it. I mean, you won't crash unless you're just a fucking dumbass or something. But if you're coming around here at top speed, you're so small, you'll just work your way in through any of these holes. You'll come right through here and just be like, all right, 30, 60 degrees. All right, yeah. Yeah. That was my first thought. But then I said, you know what? Maybe, since that was like 100 miles across in this area, 400 miles here, 600 miles there, 600 miles. Maybe it was a 100-mile tree. And you know what I'm saying? There's your in comparison. Or maybe it looks like that and it's more like this. But then I went on later in this thing. It tells you, oh my gosh, there's a mountain, but then there's holes and the water empties into the bottom of it. So then I was like, well, wait a minute. What if it's just a big ass tree, which appears to be a mountain? The roots come up and there's holes underneath. So you can just like kind of empty into the bottom. The water is empty into the bottom. The guys said that they were somehow on top of this mountain. This is like 100 miles across, guys. This is like fucking big. Like, wait a minute, where is my example? So in comparison, I mean, you're looking at being like this big to something like that. So as you can see, it's been scaled down to a micro machine. But I'm just saying, simple as that. Aurora Borealis shoots out the top of it. I think this is it. I think this is what we're gonna expect. It looks more like that too. And this map is accurate. It's exact. So we're going to see something that looks, it's going to lean to the side there and everything. It's going to be exactly like that shit. This map is very accurate.
They encountered many gigantic people and animals and a very advanced civilization. They spent their time there for a year before they returned back home.
These people are reading Latin.
A Welshman, Walter Mapes, in the latter part of the 12th century, in his collection of anecdotes, tells of a prehistoric king of Britain named Hela, who met with the Skrellings, who took him beneath the earth. Many early legends tell of people going under the earth into a strange realm, staying there for a long period of time and later returning. The ancient Irish had a legend of a land beyond the sea where the sun always shone and it was always summer weather. They even thought that some of their heroes had gone there and returned, after which they were never satisfied with their own country.
They returned, so it's not because they weren't satisfied. I want to go back to the land of perpetual twilight. It's crazy.
All the speculation and the facts supposedly based on speculation.
Right?
If there were an inner world, is it possible that an explorer or two had gotten down through the well-traveled waterways?
I think so.
The islands that were so well documented again and again?
Exactly. I'm telling you.
Is it possible that an explorer had gotten to the inner world and made it out and actually mapped the inner world?
You know they did.
We think it is. And behold, Schlaraffenland. This is an extremely unusual map. The cartographers and cartologists do not know really what it is of, other than they say it is a fantasy map. Our dealings with experts have taught us time and time again that when an expert does not know what something is, he dogmatically states that it is fantasy.
This makes him a cute. Now, see this mountain right here? When he zooms into it, you're going to see that there's 4 rivers rolling to it. It looks like there's giants on top of this motherfucker, but I'm just saying, this is like that mountain that they were astonished and they saw water emptying into the bottom. And that's when I came up with this one, because I was like, wait a minute. It's like a tree and the roots are open and the water empties in the bottom of it, but it's like a big ass mountain. It makes all the sense now. I totally understand it now, I think. But this is supposed to be inside of the, underneath, dude, underneath the plane, yo. There's another map too.
But is this map fantasy? Let's look at a couple of aspects concerning this map. First of all, the origin of this map is somewhat questionable. It is a map crafted by George Matthias Suter, who lived from 1668 to 1757. This particular map was printed in 1740. It had supposedly reached